Hi, my name is Matt Jennings.
And I'm Franklin Zhang.
And our passion is game development.
Alright, got it. So basically, Matt and I both like this YouTuber named Mark Brown, who does game design analysis on YouTube. Every year he hosts a game jam in which thousands of people all across the world participate.
There are 2 rules to this game jam. First, you have to start and finish everything in 50 hours. And then second, you have to follow whatever the assigned theme is for the jam. And for this year, the theme was Roll of the Dice.
Roll of the dice.
And so with the theme assigned, we got brainstorming.
As soon as we heard the prompt, we started talking about the games we really enjoyed that used dice and randomness.
We wanted to think of games that use dice as more than just random rolls. For example, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Spin-off Dungeon Dice Monsters unfolds dice to form the map or level or area in which the game is played.
And I threw in Lost Kingdoms. In this game, cards are used in 4 different ways, like attacking or summoning.
The idea of having a hand reminded me of Kingdom Hearts' Chain of Memories, where you actually build a deck of cards that represent your actions.
This translates really well to a die that the player rolls.
At the end of a 20-minute brainstorming session, here are our notes. And with that done, we were ready for sprint planning.
We need a room for the player to exist in and an actual player object. Also, the ability to move around that room.
That makes sense. And hey, I found this tutorial about how to make tile-based 2D movement in Unity.
One eternity later.
Alright, those are all of our requirements for Sprint 1. I think we're ready to get started. So hands in. Come on. Go Squad!
So, this is our game right now. Fun, right?
Sprint 1's focus was on creating MVP systems. With Sprint 2, we would work on the additional systems needed to transition between 2 levels.
We already had a basic room. Now, we needed a second room. We already had a basic enemy. Now, we needed a second enemy to put in that second room. We already had a basic dice, but we needed a second die as a reward for completing the first room.
And what should that new die be? We had some interesting ideas earlier when we were brainstorming, such as like firing a beam to attack or maybe teleporting.
Right. So we decided to implement a spin attack like in Legend of Zelda. We figured that this was interesting enough because it's a circular swing, but also simple enough to implement. We burned through all of Friday with Sprint 1, and at this point, it was Saturday evening. I remember thinking to myself, Sprint 2 has way less scope than Sprint 1. This is going to be easy, we're going to be done in an hour, we'll be in bed by midnight.
Hey, Matt?
Yeah.
What do you think happens when we die?
What? Why are you thinking about this?
I don't know, man. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to make this image of a sword go in a circle, and I can't figure out why it's only going halfway, and I just... I'll probably be working on this bug until I die.
It's 3 a.m., dude. Go to sleep.
Alright, man. That's probably a good idea. I'll see you in the morning.
At this point, it was Sunday morning, and we finally had all the systems we needed in place so that we could craft new enemies, new dice, and new levels. We could finally build a real game.
I hadn't mentioned this yet, but on Saturday, Sam Shankman hopped online and asked if he could help. We didn't know this at the time, but he was tinkering away at an audio system which Matt and I hadn't even thought about.
He just popped on the Discord and he said, "Hey, I have something small I want to demo to you guys." And then all of a sudden our game just popped to life with background music and sound effects. It made a huge difference. Here's a before and after.
got us really excited. I think to complete the game, we need to surprise and excite the player with our mechanics.
We wanted each level to have a purpose, to teach the player something new that we could build upon in the levels that came after it. So here's the story we came up with. In level 1, we just teach the player how to move around and use the die to attack a single enemy.
Sam came up with this creative level 2. The die is trapped in the bottom left corner. This is to teach the player that the positioning is important, and that the attack always plays out in the direction of the die.
Level 3 introduces the concept of more enemy types and also obstacles that the player and the die both need to move around. Completing this level rewards the player with the spin attack die as well.
In level 4, we try to teach the player when to use the spin attack. We spawn 5 enemies in a circle around the exit of a pathway that the player has to walk through. If they don't use the die to hit all of them back, they'll probably be defeated very quickly.
For this part of the story, we implemented configurable dice spawn points. We use the position of the die as a hint to the player as to what the pros and cons of the spin die are. It's good for clearing weak mobs, but that stronger enemy in the corner is better fought with the normal attack die.
In level 5, we demoed the teleporting enemy that I built. Sam designed this level with the enemy initially stuck behind a fence. The idea is to make the player wonder how to even hurt this enemy until eventually...
Boom! The enemy teleports right near where we think the player is going to be standing. Now they know this enemy moves around. We think they'll probably flee to the right just in time for the enemy to teleport into that corner of the level, keeping the pressure on the player. Kudos to Sam for that idea.
Eventually the player defeats both enemies in the room, and is rewarded with a teleport die.
So I had a lot of fun designing level 6. What better way to teach the player how to use this new die than to initially lock them into a small space that they can't do anything in? If the player naively clicks on the teleport die without dragging it away, they're probably going to teleport right into the faces of these two spiders and get hurt.
This was really cool because the player can't use the basic sword die to hurt the spiders. Instead, they have to use a 360 swipe to hurt them.
And finally, we have level 7, which Sam designed. It represents our skill test level. There are no more mechanics or enemies to learn here. Instead, it's time to see how well the player can puzzle solve and roll on their own.
This third sprint is what I love about game dev. It's about taking interesting mechanics and organizing them in a way that creates memorable experiences. I love sharing my thoughts about what interesting mechanics were, and I love hearing Matt and Sam consider the player experiences.
And with that, we were done. We submitted the build just in time.
If you want to check out the game, it's a 20-minute playtime and can be found at this URL. But you can also ping one of us and we'll just send you a link.
So, Franklin, now that we're finished with the Game Jam, what did you think of the experience? Are you passionate about it?
It was hard, but fulfilling. And as Sam showed us, you don't need any prior experience to have a good time or contribute in a great way. How about you?
I had a blast coming up with a really creative idea together, and then seeing it come to life in just 50 short hours. Game development really is a passion of mine.
Same. And if we persuaded you that game development is a good time, we hope to see you at next year's GMTK Game Jam.
See you next year!